Well, first of all, as I said to you, yes, I will. I did watch Spinal Tap 2 yesterday for you, but I was
I
not going to
appreciate
watch.
that.
In a
Was not going
crowded
to watch.
house.
Was not going to watch. Now you guys keep talking. I'll just finish my sentences after the show. Um, I was not going to watch Spinal Tap 92 again. That
Yeah.
was, or was it 97? It was definitely a Comedy Central exclusive premiere, mockumentary sequel to this movie, reuniting the stars and the director. It
Yes.
was terrible.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the unofficial entry. I was talking about like when they had the Break Like the Wind album, there was like a TV special with some concert footage. And
That was a TV special. I'm
yeah, so
telling you.
the concert footage part was actually very funny. But yeah, I think that what you need to do is kind of put them in a setting like this. This worked better than that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is that this movie in the opening weekend made $1.5 million. And look, that's a nice chunk of change for the three of us to divide up. And this is not a huge movie. That's very little bit of money for a sequel to a legendary film to make in its opening weekend. But Liam, you said that it was not sparsely attended, correct?
Well, I would say the theater I went to last night was pretty full. We were texting and Eric asked if they'd sold all 20 seats. But it was actually Theater 6 at the AMC 16, which, as we all know, seats about 70 or 80. I was stuck in the front. I was actually stuck in row C, which, the non-recliner. So I was like kind of stuck staring straight up at the screen. So there were about 50 people behind me, really enjoying. What was interesting was I was laughing at all the things that they weren't laughing at, and they were all like not laughing while I was laughing really hard. So I don't know if I'm dumb, like a Homer Simpson guy, where it's like I'm hearing jokes where there are none, or if the audience just was really in tune with each other and I was not part of the crowd.
So the question is, were they laughing just at different times than you, or you were just the only one left? Because I've been that guy, that you're kind of the only one laughing, and then it just kind of makes you laugh harder.
Or Liam was it the angry guy from Working Man? And his
I
friend.
No, they were all. I think they all got. I got a couple looks because I did fall asleep and start snoring loudly, and I woke myself up snoring. So I but I don't think I slept too long because I fell asleep and there was like they were talking. There's like I don't know. I woke up and Paul McCartney was on the screen. And I
Which
was
you
like,
can see right now on our visual version. Yeah, well, the movie's like an hour and 25 minutes. And you mentioned that you slept 20 minutes. And as I said, that's like half of your nap during Craven. Craven, you were out for a solid like 40, I think.
actually, I would say I thought I was asleep for 10, and then I looked at the plot on Wikipedia, and I might not have actually even been asleep that long.
Yeah.
Because this, like you said, it's 85 minutes. My favorite joke in this movie, nobody else laughed in the theater, but it's like my favorite joke in the movie. They're doing like that whole spoken word intro to Stonehenge, where they do this like, and then someone in the crowd just yells, "Do Stonehenge!"
Yeah.
I just laughed my ass off. Nobody else laughed.
I
did.
loved that joke. Yeah, that was See, this is why we should have all gone to see it together.
This is why you're part of our entourage at AMC, Liam, so that you're with like-minded folk.
That's true. We I know. Who's jealous out there in the audience that the three of us we share AMC entourage, and
It's very intimate.
Yeah. So yeah, look, and I think that there's plenty of laughs in the movie, and I would say, and Liam, tell me if you agree, there are enough laughs to justify making this film. But is that accurate or is that not accurate?
I have a very, very insufferable answer to this question.
I can't wait to hear it.
The jokes are there, like obviously, and like obviously, you put Rob Reiner and those three guys together, and they'll come up with funny stuff. My problem was more with the story. Like to me, the story mechanics just don't work because there's no real central conflict. I actually watched Spinal Tap last night after I came home from the movie just to make sure I was right about this. But like the cool thing about Spinal Tap was, even though that was also like less than 90 minutes, they had a central conflict to the story, which was kind of like, here's this band that used to be popular, and we're watching them kind of like watching their career die in front of us, which is funny. But also then, like, the wife comes, like David's wife
Yeah.
comes and causes a conflict with the band and makes everything worse. And they show up to the hotel, and like there's like all these little conflicts along the way that like get resolved eventually. Whereas in this movie, there's no real central conflict. It's like they hire an executive who's based on Simon Cowell, and he comes up with some funny ideas that are bad, and then he just leaves, and there's no real explanation for it, and then he's back and there's no explanation for it. And it's like kind of like the whole story is not like, it's not based on like, oh no, what's this band going to do. It's just kind of like, okay, we've got this concert we're going to do, and then they do it, and Elton John joins them, and there's no real problem with that. It's like someone says something funny and inappropriate to Elton John. Someone says something funny and inappropriate to Paul McCartney. But at the end of the day, there's no like real conflict that they have to solve in terms of like putting on a concert, or their career or their personal lives. There's like interpersonal conflict, and then it's just resolved. And I'll stop here, but I have a lot more to say about that.
No. Well, please, you're here because we want to hear what you have to say. But to that end, I think the idea of them working towards one show is it's a good engine, as they say. But the fact that there's this conflict between David and Nigel, and it's resolved in a funny way during the credits, where Derek's like, yeah, actually, I shagged his wife. And I'm like, oh, okay. But like, it was like this thing, like, oh, you know what you did. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity. I'm not a huge fan of, the aggregators of critic reaction, but I do think that the Rotten Tomatoes summary, which by the way gave this a 67%, which is more than 11. But the quote is, getting the band back together for an encore, Spinal Tap 2's dry sense of humor doesn't reach the heights of the original's comedic brilliance, but still hits the right nostalgic chords while wisely acting its own age. So to me, I'm like, yeah, okay, that kind of sounds like the movie that I saw. What say you, Count Eric-Kana?
Yeah, you're making wonderful points as always, Mr. Liam. I think the idea is it's a little more episodic than the first movie. The first movie, there is an actual build and there's tension, and like she shows up, and are they going to even make it to the stage? This one, it is sort of a foregone conclusion. The name of David Brent's band, by the way, from The Office. So they are basically gonna go. So you're right. Like, it doesn't have something that really sort of pushes us through the story. So it does have more of a feel of like a series of very funny sketches strung together than the first movie, which really did have a good narrative. And all these steps along the way actually built to something. But it's one of those two. But when I was watching it, I think your question before, Christian, about was there enough laughs to warrant it? I felt within 10 minutes, the answer was yes. Like, I found myself laughing so much early on and steadily throughout. So that, like, in essence, like, I didn't mind the lack of story, though I think a story would have elevated this. If there was some actual tension, will they make it to the show or not? Will this band be able to stay together? I mean, I saw Oasis, last week, and the ultimate tension, and the reason I think my buddy and I didn't buy tickets early was we weren't sure if they would ever make it to LA. And somehow they did, and they even hugged each other on stage, as opposed to when I saw them in the 90s and they called each other the C word. And I kind of like that version a lot, but musically they sound great. So there's a real tension of, though, people who hate each other having to perform together. And I agree. I think they could have gotten more out of that, but a lot of laughs in this. And I think that aggregate review is it's pretty dead on.
Well, I feel I also need to point out, the C word has different intensity for different groups of people. Like that word gets thrown around a lot when the three of us AMC entourage and meet up to see Jason Statham film. It's mostly directed at us, but
at
still.
Liam specifically, and then we got some T words.
We did, yeah.
We got more of the C.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm sorry. The real story, honestly, for me, and what I would love to hear, is about how this movie came together in the editing. And I'm really going to spoil the movie now. And so, if you don't want me to spoil the movie, turn it off.
No, yeah, but please go ahead.
No, leave it on, but leave the room.
So the actual way that they resolve this plot between David and Nigel is, I should say, Jimmy McGill and Nigel is. By the way, his accent slipped a lot in this movie, which was pretty funny on its own.
It's actually a great point. Yes, I didn't think about it, but yes, go ahead.
But my point is just like, he walks away from the venue right when the show's about to start, and then that's like, oh man, what a great opportunity to build some tension. And then he walks down the street and sees two blues musicians, and then he flashes back to the original movie. And then back to present. It just flashes back to him and his friend, him and Nigel playing music, and flashback. In the present, he's like, "Oh man, it's so much fun to play music with him." And I'm like, "That's not something you write. That's something when you're sitting in the editing room at 2 a.m. and you're like, motherfucker, we don't have an ending. We don't have an act 3. We don't have like a resolution for this movie. Okay." You know what? Let's just throw this flashback in here, and we'll have these two blues musicians, and we'll throw in this close up, and we'll hope nobody notices it's from a different shot, and we'll make it work.
Right. Yeah. I think I think we're all in agreement that it is very light on story, and I mostly had fun with it. I'm not okay. So I basically made Liam see it in the theater so that we could do it on the podcast, but everybody else, you see it when it's streaming. That's fine. I think that the biggest surprise as the movie was starting, I'm like, oh, Bleecker Street Films, Spinal Tap 2. Oh, okay. That's not what I expected. Not the marriage that I thought we'd be getting. One thing I want to talk about, and they've both come up. I actually thought that the cameos worked well, which a lot of times you have, legendary project, famous people like it, and they want to come in. I thought Paul McCartney was actually very funny. And I liked, what I really thought was funny was they were both like on Zoom, but Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers and Lars Ulrich from Metallica, basically both trying to pawn the band off on the other one. Yes. I was like, all right, I feel like that might be borrowed from the real life music industry. I thought that was funny. The idea that nobody wants to be their drummer, of course, but the climax with Elton John, I did think was very funny because it's building. We know, oh yeah, their drummer always dies. And I think that expectation was going to be that, so she's moving the drum riser. Again, we're getting really in the weeds and the spoilers, but this is mostly something to come and laugh at, so I'm not that worried about it. And we're like, oh my God, they're going to drop Stonehenge on her. And no, she was fine. But
it was the only one that was fine, which made the joke. Like, how many people got hurt at the end besides her?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was one of those where I'm like waiting for it. I'm like, all right, this is all right. This is pretty funny. And I'm like, all right. I think the line of the film is Sir Elton John saying, "Fuck Spinal Tap."
Yeah. And then it goes to credits.
Yeah. And then
there's more in the credits. But technically, last line of the script would be "Fuck Spinal Tap," as said by Elton John on the ground writhing in pain.
Right. What do you think of the credits, Eric? I'll ask you first. I said credits. I meant cameos, but
the cameos. Yeah, I completely agree. It totally worked. They didn't overstay their welcome. I think the Chad Smith, Lars Ulrich one, both those guys played it so perfectly too, where they were like so low key with it. Neither of them was playing it for jokes. They were actually playing it like, oh yeah, no, I think I know someone who can help you. And I think Paul McCartney was great. And I love him and David are pissed. Like David immediately feels threatened by him.
Yeah.
And he can't let that go. And I thought that was such a great way to use him. That like Paul comes in, he doesn't want to listen to anything he says. I'm glad they didn't overdo it with the cameos. Questlove was fine. I think they could have had a little more fun with his maybe, but just that idea of going after there's not that many drummers we recognize, and I feel like they grabbed everyone they could except maybe Dave Grohl. But beyond that,
and he might be unavailable at the moment. He's still managing the revelation of his second family, as you may recall. So
yeah, right. Oh, that's right. It would have been right when this epic was being filmed. So
yeah, maybe he was initially on the list.
His lawyers were busy that week.
You think his wife intercepted the letter inviting him into the movie and just like, no, sir.
No, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. What did you think? The big ones being Sir Paul and Sir Elton. What did you think of the involvement and treating this as though Spinal Tap, Liam, is this legendary band that these other legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Fame musicians are like, oh yeah, I'm a huge Spinal Tap fan.
I mean, look at. I still think Elton John's funniest movie role was in The Kingsman. Kingsman.
Right. He was great in that.
It wasn't surprising to me. Like Elton John's hilarious. Turns out Elton John's hilarious, and he should be in more movies. I felt like, look, if Paul McCartney says I want to be in your movie, you're putting Paul McCartney in your rock and roll movie, and if Paul McCartney's willing to play with you as a band, you're not going to say no. I felt like his cameo was a little gratuitous, and I think it really, like, for me, those cameos especially spoke to the point you were making earlier, which is Spinal Tap 1, the whole joke was this was a failing band. Like, this was a band that, like, nobody really had respect for. It was a band that, like, was kind of a joke in the rock and roll community. And then the great joke at the end of Spinal Tap 1 is, like, thank God for Japan. And so it just like kind of was like a little bit of a whiplash for me to like when Elton John's like, this is my favorite band ever, and I know all their songs by heart.
Yeah.
It made more sense actually when Paul McCartney's like, let's play Cups and Cakes together because that's the only song of yours I actually know.
Yeah, I do. By the way, I do like that David St. Hubbins, of course, played by Jimmy McGill. He's like, no, let's not do the song that you're well suited to. Let's have you do Stonehenge, right. Because he's having a real issue with these legendary musicians. Somebody from Liam's chat, Atuna Alt. Spinal Tap changed my life comedy-wise. He also said, I was thinking of the golden days of Liam's channel when he posted movies and hung out in chat. I guess that golden era has passed, Liam?
YouTube demonetized my channel.
Oh, okay.
All I have to do is send them a video showing them how I put my shows together. The magic behind my shows that I can have
transformative content. But Liam Teddy did ask if your channel got demonized, not demonetized. I think it did get demonized many times over.
Yeah. I would say KB's not a fan.
Of Teddy or of you?
No, he demonized my channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Tuna Alt is sorry to hear that.
Thank you, Tuna Alt. It's okay. I'm making a comeback. I have time to like make that video pretty soon.
Yeah, and you have a special coming very soon, right?
Right. So that's the thing is I'm currently procrastinating on making a trailer for my special. So one video at a time, fellas.
That's what we like to say around here in the old Black Cast. It's like, hey, we're gonna win people over one video at a time. And check out our previous episode where we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Kiss Alive. That one has caught on fire, so please check that one out. But anyway, back to your point, Liam.
Is it in real time, like your other Kiss, the thing you did with the?
No, I want to do that every Halloween. Watch the Tom Snyder show, the Tomorrow Show with Tom Snyder, where Gene and Paul hate every minute of it. But Ace Frehley and Tom Snyder probably had the night of their lives.
Not the Paul Lynde one?
No, that's not. No. Tootie Fields is in that. It's a different story. And by the way, thank you, Ladastro. Just finished the Kiss video. And please remember to go to kissonline.com. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, and I'm actually plugging another one of your projects. I'm thinking of the time you revisited it on Who Are These Broadcasters?
And that show's great.
Took you 90 minutes with Don Jameson to get through that.
It was 40. It was 40, and believe me, I heard about it from someone that I spent 40 minutes on it. But Don Jameson is in the Kiss Alive video, and that video is an hour and a half. So it's all about people finding the content they want, and Liam is going to get back into the content game. You know? Does
that special have a co-host just sitting there wondering what the fuck's going on his show?
No, I don't think you're talking about my friend Eric Zane. But by the way, if we're in the clips portion of the episode early, Who Are These Broadcasters is Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel. Our Howard Stern recap from when he came back is by far our biggest episode, even much bigger than when we had legendary comedian Tom Myers on the show. I mean, like 5 times the size of the Tom Myers episode. So,
but anyway, to finish answering your question. So those cameos were great, but it was like the John Michael Higgins cameo as the guy who was like leading them through exercises so they could do dances. I was like, oh man, all of a sudden we're in Christopher Guest mockumentary territory, and it doesn't work.
I agree 100%. I'm not going to lie. I forgot about that. John Michael Higgins is somebody I always thought was so funny. And then he's in far and away my least favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie, Licorice Pizza, inexplicably doing racist Asian character, not in one scene, but in 2 scenes. Because PTA is like, yeah, let's go back into that. Let's have him do that. So it had been a minute since I saw him. And I'm going to say I liked this less than that. His appearance in this less than that. Because it's like, oh, they're old. They need to do exercise.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry to dominate this portion of, but I haven't seen Licorice Pizza yet. Is it full? Is it full breakfast at Tiffany? Screaming down the stairs in a funny Japanese accent.
He doesn't have the teeth. I think that's the one
he doesn't have the teeth. That's the one thing that's missing.
But it's a real. He's playing an Asian person.
No, he's a guy making fun of an Asian person by doing a broad Asian impression. And by the way, since Hughesy's not here, but he has an upcoming episode that I'll be a part of. Does Paul Thomas Anderson stink? And I'm going to say, based on Licorice Pizza, yes. Based on the last 20 minutes of Magnolia, yes. Speaking of Husey Entertainment, sorry I couldn't make it. I got lost on my way to the office. Get it? Husey, you're still welcome. You can jump on even if it's just for a couple minutes.
Come and say the C word and leave.
Send me the link! Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's fine. And I'm sorry. I'm getting overcome by the chat. If Sam Bibley shows up, it says Liam is back, baby. Liam, we got really bogged down. We got in the weeds there. You're right. That, I don't know, if you do like 5 seconds of like them exercising, set to while they're rehearsing, it's fine. But how long was that scene, Liam? You just saw it. So was that like a good 3-4 minutes?
I would say it's somewhere between 3 minutes and a lifetime.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I got to reach. There we go. I can't believe I didn't have it.
I just took this up to 11. That was the joke I was trying to make when I was coming in.
It's all right because I already stole your joke.
We had another one. 11's kind of been. We've taken that.
Took joke theft up to 11.
Are you getting arrested?
No. It's civil unrest outside in North Hollywood. Whatever, man.
Yeah. He's on the mean streets of North Hollywood. You don't hear any sirens in Burbank.
The bright side of Burbank. Yeah.
All you ever get is I've done many streams where my neighbors have the gardener, blowing leaves. So in any event,
leaves is the name of my dog.
Yeah, I tell you. Eric, Liam does have a good point. They did try to cram a lot of things in there. And when we're dealing with the Simon Cowell-like character, the manager with the terrible ideas, and also like he can't hear, can't process music, that's kind of, and again, it's not this movie's fault that I had just seen Peacemaker, where Tim Meadows has bird blindness. He can't tell one bird from another.
That's so
And
funny.
and so then I'm like, this guy like can't process music. I'm like, but whatever.
I wanted one moment from his point of view. I kept hoping we would somehow get that, and we never did. I one of my friends said that it feels like there is a scene or two that is missing, explaining his departure, because it's so abrupt and it's not a dramatic payoff. Like there's no weight to it, so it doesn't build on the comedy, it doesn't build on the tension. It's just sort of like, all right, I'm out, and there's no consequence. So it's one of those, like, I did like that character, and I thought they used him well. I did love him pitching. It was almost like that old SNL bit with Chop and Broccoli, where they try to convince the guy, if you die, your album will sell much better.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of that joke, but it worked, and he's funny. I don't know who that actor is, but then he's just gone. And yeah, I think in the bonus footage, maybe there's an explanation. Is there another gig he took, and that gig turned out to be even worse than the Spinal Tap one? So yeah, that one set up, no payoff.
Well, earlier Liam talked about the movie being possibly saved in the editing room, and then that is probably one that you can't save in the editing room because nobody thought to film it. So, Eric, you should have been on the set. I'm going to bring in our fourth, but only via text form. Husey Entertainment, plot hole. Why would a hippie band of the 60s have a heavy metal name like Spinal Tap? Well, they didn't start off as Spinal Tap, but then they realized that they could cash in. So I'll use a perfect musical anecdote, a comparison, an analogy. You know the band Sugar Ray that have all those 90s pop hits. They didn't used to sound like that. And then they have that one song, Fly, and they're like, well, shit, we're going to just do that now. The Goo Goo Dolls were originally signed to Metal Blade Records.
No.
And they were, a little bit of like a punk / metal hybrid. And then it's like, oh, wait, we could get on the radio. So yeah, I think that's basically what happened with Tap. But
by the way, there's a great video out there. Mark McGrath, the guy from Sugar Ray?
It is Mark McGrath, yes.
So he's like in a bad mood. He's just like someone filming it, taping him while he's out amongst his fans, and this teenager just goes, "Hey, sugar gay." And he completely flips on the kid. Just absolutely starts screaming at him.
That's sugar homosexual.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'm sugar gay? Did you say I'm sugar gay?" Just worth finding the video. But I just want to point out also the band Husey was originally called the Originals. And then
and not the New Originals. Yeah.
They found out there's another band called the Originals, so they call themselves the New Originals. Then the other band changed their name to and so on and so forth. So the first movie actually has a whole explanation, in-universe explanation for that.
Well, Liam, if you're going to bring up something that sends us off on a tangent and has absolutely nothing to do with the topic at hand, but it sounds like it's good, it's going to be good content and going to be good footage. Yeah. Oh, I know it's it because I listened to it while I was pretending to listen to you. But I know what you're
pretending.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Cigarette Jones does have a really important point that Ray stinks. If you can smell funnel cake, Sugar Ray are likely playing at the same time. All right, I'm going to leave that comment on the screen as we dive into this video from Mark McGrath. Let's hear.
Make a hole, gentlemen. Make a hole. Move it.
Make a hole. The Christian Blatt story.
Who said that?
All right. All right. I don't mind people making fun of me, but you literally talked over the important moment of the video.
I'm sorry.
So that's 10 demerits for Eric Conley.
Make a hole, gentlemen. Make a hole. Move it. Sugar gay. Who said sugar gay? I'm beating your fucking ass. Who said that? say that? No, I didn't say anything. You ready to be smart? Did I say anything? Did I say anything? Did you say something? No, I did not say anything. Choke your fucking head.
Hey, Mark, can I get your autograph?
Oh,
I forgot about that.
Choke your fucking face. You say that again. Did I say anything?
Yes, you did. Hold on,
Wait a minute. Whoa. I'm sorry. This is important. Did he say I'll fuck your fucking face if you say that again?
Yep.
Wouldn't that then prove that he's sugar gay?
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, can I get your autograph?
Yeah, you can.
All right, cool.
You beat the fuck out of that guy right there.
Which one? Tomorrow.
The one that Minnie Driver is going to do to them.
Choke your fucking face. You say that again. Did I say anything?
Yes, you did. Hold on, he didn't finish his autograph.
You didn't finish your autograph.
I hope that the deleted scenes to Spinal Tap 2 are at least somewhere near as entertaining as that. But
That kid, that by the way, I would be proud if that kid was my son.
I can see your son doing that. By the way, where's Mr. Hollywood? Oh, he's at school. That's
right. You know, he's a good boy. He's doing his work.
Well, I don't want to belabor this point too much, but I do want to try to keep us down to a manageable like hour or so, which anybody who watches any of my content knows that I'm a stickler for keeping to a schedule and making sure that all the content that I post is lean and mean. Liam, would you watch this again? You know, especially if like, oh, there's like 20 minutes of deleted stuff, or are you good after one viewing?
You mean when the Criterion 4K comes out?
Oh, and our friend Kaylee, of course, buys it as she spends like $600 on Criterion DVDs. Yes,
I mean, I got to tell you, I am going to buy Spinal Tap on 4K today. So because they did reshoot it. They reshoot it on 4K.
Well, I have it on standard def DVD. Jealous? Husey, how would that look in your home cinema on a? It might be pan and scan actually.
It only takes up one corner.
I don't, it'll be a while before I watch this movie again. I'm not going to lie to you. I will say I was very happily surprised to find out that there was on a Wednesday night, there was a theater full of people because, and I have to tell you guys, go support comedies in the theater because they're just so much more fun to watch. There was a trailer for a movie that Bleecker Street's releasing soon called Feckham Hall, which is just like kind of giving the Zucker brothers treatment to Glass Onion and not Glass Onion, what the fucking Ryan Johnson.
Knives Out.
Yeah, Knives Out, and it was funny as hell. And watching the trailer in a theater full of people just primed for comedy, it was great. Like even the jokes that might not have landed when I was at home, they landed really well in this theater. So yeah, I recommend going to see it, especially if you are, as most of us were last night, middle-aged, and just kind of like revisiting a childhood favorite. Because that's the thing. At the end of the day, this is like 88 minutes of hanging out with these characters from your childhood one more time before everybody on screen dies, which they all look about 2 days away from doing.
Speaking of middle age and a few days away from dying, I know that Erica, you have one of your many doctor's visits upcoming right now, or perhaps you have to pee. Maybe someone's checking your prostate, perhaps by appointment, or just for fun. Do you have any final thoughts here?
No, dude, man, not just a finger. I got a lot of room there. That's a little more to scale.
Smell the glove
from the inside. It's not even. I will definitely watch this again. My wife didn't see it, so I'm beyond excited for whenever it gets to streaming, and I will sit her down like you were watching this. I don't think my boys will appreciate this one so much, but I think we will. And there's definitely jokes I missed. I mean, we were laughing enough. And Liam, I couldn't agree more. I also saw the trailer for Feckham Hall, and I had never heard about that movie. I don't know if you had heard about it even.
No.
And this trailer comes out, and it begins like it is a Bridgerton kind of story, or Downton Abbey. And then the best part was immediately afterwards was the Downton Abbey
Yes.
Silence Your Phones, which was all of a sudden hysterical for the first time. But yeah, Fackham Hall got me really excited. It's coming out in December, I believe. And my friends I saw this with, we already agreed we're going to go see that. So the idea of comedy amongst people, like that's the hardest thing at home, at least for me, between like the human kids and the dogs, like just having like an hour and a half to focus on anything. And so with comedy, being with other people, like it is infectious. And I enjoyed this so much more because I got to see it on the big screen.
Yeah,
I would say
Liam and I saw Naked Gun together this summer, and I'll say it was
and then when
that was great.
the movie.
It was great to see with an audience. What were you going to say, Liam? And Eric, when you have to go, please don't stay on our account at Count Eric Connor on social media. But what were you going to say, Liam?
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to extend it. But I'm just agreeing with Eric because like and this is a big spoiler also, but like instead of revisiting the "it goes up to 11" joke, they kind of revisit the whole overarching gag of like Nigel's really into all his gear, and there's a joke where like very not to me great running joke about his love of cheese, and so his guitar has like a cheese board and a cheese grater. I would not have laughed at that alone, but the audience I was with was so explosive when he started doing that I was like, yeah, that is funny. And I started laughing too. So
yeah, I think that all of his pedals was great the first time, and then they go back to it. And I'm like, oh, all right. The cheese board was kind of funny. I was like, there should have been one pedal gag in the film.
I will say there was a payoff with Rob Reiner that made it worthwhile.
There was that one line though about what are we going to do with a Japanese woman being stabbed?
Yeah.
As a sound effect. I'm like that. Okay, that made it all worthwhile. Yeah. I am going to leave you here, gents.
All right.
Seeing your handsome, rugged faces. I'll miss you all.
I love you more. I love you more than a friend. Wait, that's the wrong show. Always. Sorry. All right, but now again, our background looks great because there's only two of us. Look, I don't care which two. As long as there's only two of us, it looks great. By the way, no, Hughesy's not camera ready. He does point out, just to refer back to Mark McGrath, the clip begins with him saying, make a hole. Right. And then he gets offended by being called sugar gay. Yeah.
Look, I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want you being the next person in our world to get sued. But Mark McGrath might have been on some stimulants. There might have been something. He might have been on more than pure air.
You know what? I think the stimulant when you're Mark McGrath is just life, baby. I'm sure he was stimulated on his own fame.
Anyway, you know how watching that clip together made us all laugh harder? Go watch Spinal Tap in the theater. Even the tap water joke will seem funnier.
Yeah, look, I had fun with it, and I'm like, okay, I'm glad that we got to revisit them. Now, if they do a Spinal Tap 3 in like 2 more years, because that's kind of the trend, like legendary movie, franchise or whatever comes back, and then they're like, oh, well, then we'll just do another one. I'm like, no, this was good. And like, if they want to show up and do more performances, or maybe just like a talk show appearance, which you want to talk about an image that has aged poorly. Here they are on the Jimmy Kimmel show, which I'll tell my kids one day used to be a thing. There used to be a guy named Jimmy Kimmel who had a late night television show. I have attended this morning. Yeah, I did. And but the gang from Tap there with Marty DeBurgi all crammed on the couch. They did this in character. So if anybody wants to find that, I would say watch it today while Kimmel's content is still up on the ABC YouTube channel. I'd be more interested in seeing the characters again in a non-traditional setting. I don't think the $1.5 million box office lends itself to a Spinal Tap 3.
I would say that quite frankly, the Simpsons episode was a better sequel. Because that just kind of like played them as the characters they were in the original movie, and not like as this legend that they became in the real world. But yeah, no, it's. I was reading an interview with Rob Reiner, and he was like, "Well, this is the first sequel I've ever made in my career, and usually I've made a point of not making sequels." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's also been 40 years since you made Stand By Me. It's like, what else are you? I mean, I love Rob Reiner." he's a legend, but North is a more recent movie than the one, A Few Good Men.
Yeah, you popped in a little late. We talked about the run that he was on with just some of the most amazing movies, culminating in A Few Good Men, and then North really pumps the brakes on it. It's it's all over at that point.
It didn't just pump the brakes. It put a curse on him. Like it's the craziest thing. That guy was like one of the great directors of his generation, and then it's like his career fell Wile E. Coyote like off a cliff into a barrel of TNT, and then exploded him, and he never quite put it back together.
I'm sorry. I like this interesting moment where you live close enough to me that I can hear this helicopter out my window, but it's also like far enough away from you that it's much more faint. So we're having
it was outside my window. We live near a military base, folks, and an airport.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Well, Liam, I do appreciate you, one, seeing the movie last night for us, and two, joining us as we talk about it.
I had David Lynch class last night, and we were watching Dune. I was very, very happy to have an excuse to not watch Dune again.
And I assume if it's the David Lynch class, it's the David Lynch Dune, not the Denis Villeneuve, or however you say that dude's name, right?
Denis Villeneuve? No, it wasn't even the Jodorowsky's Dune, which I've never seen. But
the one for Sci-Fi Channel? Is it? Are you talking about that one?
No. So Jodorowsky was originally going to do Dune, and there's I've heard it's a great documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune, and it's just all about the Dune that we didn't get a chance to watch.
I mean, I love that documentary about Superman Lives, the Superman movie that Tim Burton didn't make with Nick Cage. I love movies about movies that didn't get made,
I want to step into the alternate universe where David Lynch said yes to directing Return of the Jedi. That's all.
I can't imagine what that would be like. I literally, I'm glad. I'm glad that we don't. You know what? No, I would like to see it.
This movie doesn't have enough dwarves.
Well, what about the Ewoks? No, you can't see them. Well, Liam, what are you excited for the rest of the year in terms of film releases? I do always intend to enjoy Paul Thomas Anderson movies, and I think some of them have been, of course, great. So one battle after another looks, I'm hearing good rumblings. Is there anything that you're like, oh yeah, I saw a trailer, or I know this is coming? What should the cinephiles out there, which is a different kind of files than are in the audience of other shows, the cinephiles, what should they be looking for the rest of the year in the theater?
Well, that's a hell of a way to tell me I'm uninvited from your podcast.
No, I want you to be on, but
Simon Pegg's The Running Man.
Oh,
holy shit! I knew there was a Running Man reboot coming. Yeah. I was not excited for it because I was like, if you think you're going to improve on Paul Verhoeven and who I believe directed The Running Man and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I could be wrong about that. He did Total Recall, which was also a great movie. Quick, help me out. Who directed The Running Man?
Paul Michael Glaser.
Yes, Paul Michael Glaser, absolute 80s cheese starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. 90s cheese. Felt like 80s cheese. Boy, I'm not doing it. But then I saw the trailer.
1987.
Oh, it was 80s cheese.
Yeah. Nigel Tufnell would approve.
I was 11 years old when that came out, and you cannot... I tried watching it again as an adult. It did not improve with age. When you're 11 years old and you're watching Schwarzenegger fucking running down professional wrestlers, nothing better. But this is directed by Simon Pegg. The trailer looks fucking amazing. They're going to hew a little closer to Stephen King's original story, but not much. This might be the year of Richard Bachman, because I enjoyed The Long Walk very much. And
I thought it was really well done. I saw it with Eric, I don't know, over the weekend. And I think that it might not have been the right moment to have Stephen King attached to your project because he was, making some headlines for all the wrong reasons. But I thought the movie was very good, and I thought the movie only works because of the performances. I asked our buddy Husey if he would see it, and he just like he can't watch Mark Hamill in anything. And I tried
Really?
to. Yeah, I mean, not after the Last Jedi. I think he said but
Well,
I
first of all,
said check out Burt Kreischer's The Machine. Then that'll really have you warm up to Mark Hamill.
first of all, as far as Last Jedi goes, Ryan Johnson's a very nice guy. A big fan.
That is the company line on this channel. That as
Big
far
fan.
as far as the Last Jedi goes, Ryan Johnson's a nice guy. Yeah.
Big fan. But also, Mark Hamill is fucking hams it up exactly the right amount in this movie. Like,
He's
yeah,
perfect in this. This is a perfect role for him.
This is honestly his late career arc of just being a character actor and hamming it up and knowing when to pull it back in. Like, I think he hated what he had to do in The Last Jedi, and I get why, because it felt very out of character for Luke Skywalker. But it also played into his strengths of just like being a cheeseball so well that I couldn't be mad at his performance.
If you like his character work where he's the voice of the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, and the fact that he does the exact same voice as the Hobgoblin in Spider-Man the Animated Series, then you will love him in The Long Walk. It is again the coup de grace of cheese. And you mentioned Paul Verhoeven, and I can't say enough. I did a whole episode from Nice Doug from Good Times, Great Movies. The one movie from my childhood that has only gotten better is, of course, 1987's RoboCop, because it's the same year as The Running Man. I just think that movie only gets better. It only seems more timely, as basically we're all living in New Detroit. So
we are, and I'm not joking, we are 2 years away from getting ED-209s on the street. That's not a joke. It's just you look at the robots that are out there. It's like I think we're getting a RoboCop. Like I think they're just waiting for the right street officer to die.
And that's a fact, Jack. Curious George with a K. I just spent $37 for Hider in the House Blu-ray. Have you seen this movie? I have never heard of this either. 1989. Gary Busey, Mimi Rogers, and Michael McKean. I mean, if you spend $37 on it, I will at least stream it for like $4 or whatever. I'll make a note of that one. Do you know this movie, Liam?
No, but I just Googled it, and the official images make it look like Mimi Rogers might be naked in this movie.
Okay, so I've already ordered it.
any 80s movie with Mimi Rogers undressed in bed, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I saw Michael McKean at the airport at JFK waiting for an Uber, and it made the Uber experience 10% better. He just does that with everything. He really does. Like I was like standing next to Michael McKean, and we traded a look, and where his look was like, "Please don't recognize me," and my look was like, "Hey, I grew up in New York City. I got this." We didn't recognize each other. He left me alone, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, which usually he's very needy when he sees somebody. Yeah.
Anyway, Curious George, does she get naked in this movie? Because I will watch Hider in the House. I'll stream it. I'll download it.
Liam, what would you like to promote? You have things that are in the works. You have a special.
Yes.
What would you?
I have a special coming out. So here's the thing: I pump the brakes on stand-up for the most part. I haven't done much stand-up actually since I recorded that special last year. It's finally coming out. Did you come to that? I forget.
Your special, yes. Eric and I were both there. Yeah.
Okay, so it's I'm just gonna plug it for 1 second. It's coming out on Amazon Prime in October. I still don't know what day in October, which is why I've been procrastinating on the trailer, but I got to get on top of that. And it's not like, here's my special, I'm dumping it on Amazon Prime, as one of my stalkers likes to accuse me. It's being released by Comedy Dynamics. And it was a very loose taping, but I I will say it was edited a little more tightly than I would have done, but I made sure that they left in a lot of like just me starting over jokes or fucking around with the audience or making fun of the production because it was done at midnight in a venue with no air conditioning, following two other people taping their 1 hour specials. So it's 40 minutes of wholesome, good fun. And I will say, if you've heard my albums, you've only heard 20% of the material that I do. Most of it's new. I forgot to do a couple bits, so you'll see maybe where there could have been a little better setup. And that's it. I'm not going to start apologizing for my special.
No, you shouldn't. And Eric and I were both there. We had fun that night, and part of the fun was your interacting with the audience. And then, the idea that we get to see you start a bit over when you're like, "Oh wait, I didn't set it up right." So I
was at the peak of my weight gain. So if one of your joys is sending me super chats telling me how fat I am, you are going to love this special.
I don't know. I'm surprised none of those people are in the chat. They usually are, the people who love to send those messages.
They're watching. We're up against Chad right now. So they're all in Chad's chat right now.
I mean, if Chad's live, it's a perfect reason for me to go. I need to sit down Zoomock like everyone. I don't even know what it means. Send Monk Space the link. I don't know who that is.
Allegedly was there. That's the name of the venue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Allegedly, I think I know. Allegedly, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you work at Do you work at the Zanku Chicken on Sepulveda? Because I might have seen you there. If you do.
Oh, Zanku. Let's do an episode on Zanku Chicken at some point. But
yeah, it's like intestine roulette. Once every 10 visits, I just shit like crazy, and I can't figure out why.
But the other 9 times, you're like, "Oh, that was so good," and then it's definitely an abusive relationship. You're just like, I think he's going to be nice to me this time. Well, I want to thank.
But allegedly, because that's his favorite Zanku Chicken in L.A. Sorry, allegedly. I was just teasing.
I do want to thank the great Leah McEnany for being here. Of course, Count Eric Connor, Adam Hughesy, the H-Man Hughes in the chat. Go subscribe to Hughesy Entertainment Television. Now that would have been the real fun if Hughesy was streaming this live, because he's monetized and we would have had super chats and then he would have got to keep all the money, but that's all right. Well, thank everybody so much. We have I believe our next episode is going to be our annual MLB playoff preview, which may or may not include the Mets, but we're going to talk about them anyway, because that's how we always start that show. It's going to be better content if they don't make it in, because we'll actually be a little bit angrier. Cigarette Jones is a Liam guy. You know what, Cigarette Jones? So am I. I am also a Liam guy.
Well, that's not what Cigarette Jones was saying in the Clown Town chats. We got a lot to talk about. And I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck.
So as for me, if you're a Christian Black guy, you can find me on social media at Christian DMZ. Like, subscribe to the Blackcast, BLADTCAST on YouTube and wherever podcasts are found. And as mentioned earlier, my show, Who Are These Broadcasters? Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Myself and the great Eric Zane looking around the world of jerks in broadcasting. And you'll find us there.
I'm going to do one more plug. Maybe this Sunday, but definitely next Sunday. Almost definitely next Sunday. I will be bringing back my top 3 podcast after 15 years. So tune into this channel if you're watching on my channel.
Less of a delay between Spinal Tap 1 and 2, so it's fine. 15 years is nothing.
The 15th anniversary.
15th anniversary. Thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next time on the Blackcast.